This is an Out and About with Jamie Grout shortcast where we kind of sum up what we just talked about in a podcast. And with me, my interview guests, Kevin and Jennifer McAlexander, who head up the committee that puts up the holiday lights, the big Christmas lights at Central Park. And this is quite an undertaking. I know that they lit up Central Park quite well there at the Jingle Bell Holiday. And how long does it take to put up the display, guys?
Well, that's an interesting question. We figured 87 hours at least of installation. That doesn't include prep and getting everything ready, but just to actually put up the display, 87 hours.
And you use volunteers?
Absolutely. This project would not be possible without all of the volunteers. Everything we do is by volunteers, including us. And we counted over 30 volunteers that have helped with this project to date.
Over 30. Mm-hmm. And then you have some regulars, but you're always looking for new people?
Absolutely. We have some essential team leaders that have helped us, many from the very first year we did this, which was 2018. Mm-hmm. And yes, we're always looking for new people. So,
Kevin, do you have any idea how many lights that you use there at Central Park? There's an awful lot of them.
There is a lot of them, and I have not done that calculation, so
okay.
I don't think I have a good number. But I would say just in the big tree alone, I know that we have over 35 strands of lights, and each one of those would have 25 lights. So do some quick math on that. There's 900 and some lights in that tree, and they're the larger bulbs. And then we have, if you got right down to all of the hoops and all of the things, it would be a lot.
Now these are LED lights, right?
Correct.
Oh,
yep.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Now I wanted to ask, how is this paid for? Because I'm sure it's quite costly.
it would be very costly if every single thing was funded. But many of the things we have built ourselves. Mm-hmm. And so that has saved the city a lot of money. But actually the city provides a budget for us, which is only $5,000. So it's very minimal. But we have been able to date to make most of that work.
Well, that's great. And they take care of the electricity, the whole thing there.
They
too,
take care
they?
of the electricity and fund the project, but the rest of it comes with my team. So we do all the maintenance and upkeep of that.
Okay. If either one of you could answer this, what is the history of lights at Central Park? You kind of got in on it. You were volunteering, and you didn't know how it would play out at first,
I
did you?
I didn't. In 2018, Central Park had been remodeled. I went to a planning meeting where they were brainstorming some ideas with the new features of the park of how could we decorate it for the holidays. Went to a couple of those meetings. There were lots of ideas shared. There was several people, over 12, I would say, in attendance, but there was no clear direction and no clear leader. And because of who I am, I came home, started thinking more about it, and came up with a plan and kind of took on the leadership role and approached the chamber.
She started bouncing ideas off of me, and I'm like, I think I know where we're going with this.
So that was, 7 years ago? So we've been doing it since then and have continued to put our heart and soul into that project.
Well, that's really neat. And you said he's kind of the make it work guy.
Absolutely. Every woman, every person needs one of those on their team, right? He is. So oftentimes I say, I think this is what we need to do. And he'll say, all right, let me think about it. That's his line usually. Let me think about it. And then usually a couple days later, he'll come back with a good plan of how it's going to work or how we need to modify it to make it work.
Wow, that's crazy. How much planning goes into this anyway? I mean, I got to imagine it's quite a bit, huh?
Yeah, there's quite a bit. We feel like we kind of threw it together this year because we had a busy summer planning for our daughter's wedding, and then right after that was in late October, so then we rolled into that, and we were kind of behind on this project, but there is a lot of planning, a lot of people working on this, and it's kind of nice that we have the team leaders that we can just say, hey, we need you to work on your section, and they'll just take care of their piece. And we give them the key things that we want done, and they'll jump right in it and take off. So that's very helpful. But there is a lot of planning, especially if we're thinking about new things and things that we're trying to add.
Speaking of new things, what kind of things would you like to have new in the future?
Yeah, we've looked at a few different things. I don't know if you have anything specific in mind.
Yeah, mostly lights. Lighted features are always a good thing. We've been challenged not really challenged, but encouraged by the chamber to consider other holidays that could be included. We've tried to keep it very neutral as far as it's very a wintry theme. It's not necessarily just Christmas. And with all the other holidays that they have proposed that we try to include, almost every constant of those holidays includes lights. And so that's also something that we're thinking about. How could we add more lighted features within the park that would also incorporate featuring some of those holidays.
And I know you, before we wrap up, you want to encourage people, if they take pictures, to tag the Grinnell Chamber of Commerce, right?
Yes, absolutely. Tag Grinnell Chamber of Commerce, hashtag Get Into Grinnell is a great hashtag to use. That allows the chamber to see that, or people who are looking into Grinnell, and also to share those pictures and encourage people to come downtown to Grinnell and check out the park.
And it's going on at night, but there's even some stuff going on during the day.
Yeah, that was one of my goals, to make sure the display was visually appealing throughout the day, so that if kids were down there during the day with their parents or people walking through, that it looked nice, even if it wasn't lit up. So yes, I would absolutely say go down during the day. And then the lights usually come on late afternoon. And so make sure that you're there and take a visit through the park, because it becomes something different when the lights are on.
How nice.
And I think it's good to check out the downtown too. And there's so many good businesses downtown, and some really nice little restaurants and fun places to hang out. So make a trip and, pop into some stores and maybe grab a bite to eat and take
Get warmed up.
Get warmed up, before or after, and
then go back to the
go
park.
through the park. So.
All right, great. Yeah. If people want to get in on the volunteer list for next year, how can they do that?
Sure. Well, you don't even have to wait till next year, because we will tear down the project on January 1st.
Okay.
So we have spent our holiday for the last 7 years tearing down the park. With a lot of other volunteers. So if they would like to help, they can reach out to the Grinnell Area Chamber of Commerce, give their contact information, say, hey, I listened to the podcast or saw the video cast and would love to be on that list. And then we'll just keep them in the communication loop, and then they can let us know if they're able to help.
That's fantastic. This must be a labor of love for you and the other volunteers, huh?
It is very much a labor of love, because there's a lot of labor.
I bet there is.
So we do appreciate, every one of us appreciates when people thank us and comment. So.
Well, thank you very much for chatting with me today. We do appreciate it. And I know the people of Central Iowa that come to Central Park appreciate all the volunteer time too. All right.
For having us.
Yeah, you bet. Our interview guests have been Kevin and Jennifer McAlexander, who head up the Christmas lights that you can see at Central Park in downtown Grinnell. Check it out. You won't be disappointed.